Joining us now here on the Hill is the Democratic Congresswoman from the state of Ohio. She represents the Cleveland area, Shontel Brown. Congresswoman, thanks for being with us here on the Hill. Appreciate the time. President Biden, as you see it, Congresswoman, should he continue his campaign, yes or no?
I am standing solidly with President Biden. He has been a magnificent president, and I am confident he will go down in history as one of the greatest presidents in our lifetime. Listen, I think this press secretary was very clear in her position as it relates to questions around his health. And what I think is more important is the questions that haven't come up as it relates to his challenger, a person who has been known to tell 30 lies.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get there with Donald Trump, and I understand why Democrats want to talk about him, but there are very real questions about the sitting commander-in-chief. You said this
answered very thoroughly by the press secretary during that press conference, and so
you were pleased with the press secretary?
What was frustrating for my constituents back home is why no one is talking about the challenger who was allowed to stand on stage and lie over 30 times. And if you calculate 30 times and you calculate the number of questions that were asked and the time that the president had to respond, that means that Donald Trump lied every single time that he opened his mouth. So if we're going to question somebody's health and mental acuity, I think that the question needs to be pointed towards Donald Trump. This is also a person who has been known to stand at campaign rallies and talk about being electrocuted on a boat or eaten by a shark. Which would you choose? Now, this is not the person that I want in control of the country. And so that is more fearful to me than anything that President Biden could do or could be undergoing. Not to mention the fact of Project 2025, which no one seems to be talking about.
Congresswoman, so let me jump in here for a second, because you are a businesswoman. Before you got into politics, you're a businesswoman, and now you're a member of Congress. You have a staff, right? So whether in the private sector with your business or now as a member of Congress with your staff, you have people who work for you. And we know that when the president spoke to governors last week at the White House, he told them, Congresswoman, that he needs to sleep more and work less. Congresswoman, if a member of your staff said to you, you know what, Congresswoman Brown, I got to sleep more and work less, you'd fire them, wouldn't you? Or you'd start looking for their replacement, would you not?
Absolutely not. Listen, the fact that the president can admit his shortcomings, I think, is a blessing. I think it demonstrates his integrity. I think it demonstrates his authenticity. And I think it demonstrates how genuine he is when it comes to telling the truth. The man on the other side has no relationship with the truth, unable to do such a thing. And so that is the thing, again, that concerns me more than what you're talking about as it relates to President Biden. We need to shift the focus back to what's more important. A performance or somebody who can deliver policy? Do you want a great debater or a great deliverer? Because President Biden has been a great deliverer when it comes to this country. He has delivered the bipartisan infrastructure law, which also has created a $1 trillion job.
I hear you. You're great.
That will get jobs that do not require a 4-year degree. What Donald Trump has.
You are a great spokesperson for. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Question or not?
Well, I want to end with this, because I hear you touting the president's agenda, right? And obviously you are for the president. We hear you.
Facts. You're asking me questions, and I am touting facts. This is
so
not
let me ask you about comments.
The president's agenda, but it is, because the fact of the matter is we need to be focused on what the vision for the future is. And Project 2025 is a clear vision of damage, destruction, divisiveness when it comes to our democracy. And for President Trump to pretend as if he has no knowledge of Project 2025 is absolutely absurd. The person who is the architect and the author of Project 2025 is being considered.
I hear you, Congresswoman. And I hate to, I'm trying not to jump in on you, but I want to ask you, I want to leave you with this, because we are talking about Donald Trump here on the show, but I'm here to talk to you about President Biden. You said earlier this year, Congresswoman, at the State of the Union, after the State of the Union, that President Biden, in your words, quote, was clear, candid, and convincing. As it stands today, you believe that President Biden is clear, candid, and convincing?
100%.
All right, we'll leave it there. Congresswoman Shontel Brown, State of Ohio, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. And make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.